Hello everyone. This is going to be my first attempt at trying to make a plan with me video using ZoomNotes. Most of the other videos I did were just sort of flip throughs of my planner or specifying, how to use a specific tool. But I'm going to go ahead and try to do this walkthrough plan with me. I've technically already brought my planner in and set it up for 2020 in January. But I wrote myself a list over here on my phone of all the things that I did, and I'm going to bring in a new blank planner and see if I can walk through all these. I'm not always super speedy when I'm doing some of these things because I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist at times, and also when I start talking out loud, my brain kind of falls out of my head, so I might pause and not remember what I'm doing. But anyway, I have my list over here of all the things and the different tools I use to get my planner set up in ZoomNotes, and we will see how many of them I get through before it feels like this video is maybe getting too long. So let's see, it is 2:40 here, so let's see if I can keep this under 30 minutes. So I've already gone in and imported a second copy of my planner that's blank over here on the left, just because it's a kind of a slow, boring process. But if you are new to ZoomNotes, you would just hit that plus sign in the top left corner and go to import. I keep all of my documents in iCloud. So I just came here, navigated to where my planner is, and then you'll get this option. Originally, when ZoomNotes came out, you brought everything in as a document, but the developer added the import as digital planner option, which is really the same thing. He just set some default parameters that are supposed to speed up your planner. So if you already imported something as a document, you can always go back and change those. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything special. You can go back and change settings if you need to. I think they're in here. I don't even. It's been so long since I've looked for those. The PDF page caching is something you turn on. Interesting that it has the tiling turned on though when I did that. Let's see. I don't know. I thought I had it turned off on my other one. Let's see. I do. I have page tiling turned off. Anyway, so I don't know. I leave it turned off, but it came. Oh, now it says it's turned off. What did I do? Am I going crazy? Okay, now it says it's turned off. Okay, so yeah, you bring it in and it will turn off tiling and turn on caching. That's because I'm opening the wrong one. What am I doing? Okay, I forget they switch places. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, off to a good start here. Okay, so let's go in here. Okay, so the first thing I do when I bring in a planner is I add page layers that I like to use to all of my pages. You'll see over here on the very right hand side, I have my page navigation bar over here. And if you click on I cannot think and talk. If you click on the very, very bottom of that toolbar where it says Untitled, you'll see under this section here where it says Layers, page has own layers. I personally don't like that because I tend to want the same layers on all of my pages. If you have a need for having different layers all throughout your planner, go for it. But I generally like them to all be the same to start out with. And as I come across one that maybe I want to have a whole bunch of layers on, I'll give that specific page its own layers. But to start off, I like to turn off has own layers and hit the set to all pages. And so now anything that I do, and see when I do that, it brings in my layers from my other planners. So I wonder if maybe that is a bug because I don't feel like it should do that. Yeah, I feel like that's not how this should work, but I noticed it when I brought in my other planner as well. As soon as I do that, it brings in the layers that I was using on my 2019 planner. So normally, did not bring any master layers. Okay, so normally I have the coloring one here on the bottom, the page layout, and writing. And I will get rid of these. Okay, and I also usually like to add at the top a hyperlinks page or layer. You can tap on the number 4 there. And that's just, I like to have a very top level layer where if I add my own shapes with hyperlinks, I like to put them in that very topmost layer. And then I like to usually uncheck the visible box. And I do that for me so that when I go back, if I lose track of where I put layers, I can always come back and turn this top layer on. Oh Lord, I can't speak today. If I lose track of where I put my hyperlinks, I can always come back here and uncheck or check the visible so I can see them and then go back. If I put them on there on a different layer and I make them transparent, I will absolutely lose them and not be able to find them back. Okay, so those are the layers that I usually start out with. Let's go to a page with a tab. Okay, so the first thing I did in my planner was I set up some page navigation buttons because I don't have room over here on the right-hand side in this planner to have this page bar. It's covering half my tabs. So I wanted to put some in the planner to navigate my pages since the swiping in ZoomNotes is still a little bit clunky. So I did that with a master layer. You can go back to your layers tab, tap on the master layers, and I add one that I just called navigation. So now we will have this one here on the top, and I will unlock it and make that my current layer. And I added text elements because I didn't want to add picture images and copy them to every page. I'm trying to keep my planner size down as much as I can. So I just ended up going through my fonts and I found one. Well, let's just draw a text box here. I found one that had some little symbols. I think it was probably this one. I don't remember. And I don't remember what I used either. I think it was a capital letter of some sort. Anyway, so I just found one that looked like an arrow. I don't remember what it was anymore. Somewhere in here. But anyway. So if you're new to ZoomNotes and you haven't used the text tool a lot, it can be a little funky. When you were on your text tool and you were in your text box with the blinking cursor like I am now, the dark blue square in the middle will drag your box around and the red squares will change how big your text box is. If you are not in the text box and you are in your selection tool, you will get a slightly different shade of blue, more of an aqua, which you can use to rotate your text box. And then now your red squares will actually resize your text like that. And if it doesn't do that, I know I have in one of my other videos that you need to turn on the option to scale line thickness or something. If you have that turned on, then when you change your box, it'll change your text size. Also, so the text tool can be a little quirky sometimes. So if you're in here and you need to change your text, you need to highlight it first. And I've also found if my keyboard is, if I minimize my keyboard and I try to come over here and highlight my text, it won't ever let me do it. So if you seem to have trouble not getting that pop-up menu when you try to press and hold with your finger on your text, try tapping on it and try having your keyboard back open. And now if I tap and hold with my finger, I will get the select option. And then from here, I can change my color. I think I actually did leave it in that gray though. But you can change your color. You could change, the size of your font and your font and all that. So I have a lot of stuff here. I don't remember what I used. Let's just. And if you're in your text box and you delete all the way back, it will also undo your settings, which is also sort of frustrating. So if I accidentally do that, I usually will just hit undo until I get back to where I was. So it can be a little quirky. It's like from here, if I were to delete all of it, you'll see it'll change all of my settings back to where it was. If I hit the undo button, it'll put it back. So anyway, I'm just going to put some symbols here. Like I said, I dug through and found an arrow. And then let's close this and resize my text box. And then I placed it up here. This looks really, really silly, but I'm trying to not care just for the sake of expediency. There we go. Oh, nope, a little too small. Okay. So I did something to that effect. And I just put it up here. And made sure it didn't cover. So if I hit my tab, it'll flip over. Oops, sorry. I haven't actually copied it to my other pages yet. I am not good at doing this while I'm talking. Go back. Okay. So that's probably close. Let's go back to my navigation layer. So if you're working in a master layer, until you actually lock it, it will not replicate to all the other pages, which is why that was not there. Okay, so now that I have my two not so arrow looking arrows, I add links to this navigation tab, which you do through the shape feature. So my shape tool is up here. And I already kind of have some presets down there in the bottom left. So I usually just pick up, kind of this square with no fill. And I would place it here. Like so. And then with the shape tool, you would select your shape, tap on the shape tool. I turn off the border so you can't see it. And then you'll go over here to this link option, hit function, and next page. And then you'll tap on the other one, turn off the border, function, previous page. All right, and that's as good as that's going to get right now. So I'll go back to my writing and I will lock it. I'll go ahead and lock everything except the writing. Okay, so now that it is locked, you can see that it will be replicated to all my other pages. And once you've gone through your planner and it's cached the pages, it actually works quite well and it's pretty quick. I also, on my front page, since there is no previous page, and I'm kind of OCD about that, on my front page, which I won't do, but on my front page, I went back into the page settings over here and I gave the front page its own layers. And then you can go into your master layer and you can modify it and it won't replicate to the rest of your pages because this one is set to have its own pages. So I just went in there and I deleted that first arrow and that first text box or shape square, whatever, shape link. And that way I only have the one arrow on my first page. So that's the first thing I did when I brought in my planner to set up my navigation. So now I can close this thing over here to the right and I do most of my navigations through the hyperlinks that I built into my planner. And if I need to go back and forward, I just hit these pages. Then the next thing I did was I started decorating my little clipboard here. I haven't really decided what I want to do, but I just want to have some stuff there to get going. So a little trick for that, if you aren't familiar with Keynote or if you don't use Keynote very often, let's see where I put my Keynote. It's kind of a fun way to make some elements for your planner if you want. I don't really have any any good pictures to show you, but I guess I can just go into this one. I'll just grab here. Okay, so if you play around in Keynote, you can actually make some pretty fun, I like corkboard elements, I guess. So here's a picture that I have, and if you're in here and you hit this little paintbrush up here in the top right, you get all these really fun border options. So you'll want to go here and you'll want to pick this one that has like the white square around it. And then you'll have the border option and the style option here. And when you go down in here, you can have this one like I have here, which kind of gives it this like three-dimensional stuck on a corkboard thing. And I have some little push pins that I can add to it later on. Or it actually has one that already has a push pin if you don't have any of those graphics. So you could break it in like that with a push pin. And it also has one that has tape on it, which I think is pretty cute. And if you're in your planner, that's where to go. It's also got these ones that you could actually like, kind of embed a picture in your page like you would a scrapbook maybe. So that's a pretty easy, quick way to add some kind of fun 3D elements to your pages if you want to, bring in something. So I'll just grab, the one with the little push pin and bring it over here. So yeah, if you don't have a lot of graphics or you don't want to go looking for them, you can get some fun ones in Keynote. Let's see what I have next on my list over here. Next thing I set up was my sticker book, which is shared across all of your planners. So, it will already be in my sticker book, but I'll show you how I did that. So for my mood tracker for this year, I'm using these free ones from the Boho Berry group, and it's got this little moon tracker here. So I thought that'd be kind of fun because I have little moon stickers from the a Boho Berry page that I got a long time ago. And I looked all over my iPad and I couldn't find them, and it turns out that they were imported as a as a GoodNotes file. So I didn't have the individual PNGs, so they were in GoodNotes in the sticker book that I used to use many months ago. I've since decided I personally don't care for sticker books. I keep all my decorative stickers in folders in my iCloud, and I keep all the stickers that I use regularly in ZoomNotes in the symbols option up here, which you can see I already have my little moon stickers here. But if you have a GoodNotes file, what I did is if you swipe up from the bottom and grab GoodNotes and bring it over here to the side, and then I went in here to GoodNotes, grab the lasso tool, and copy the little moon. Whoop, I'm still on the symbol tool over here. And then paste it over here. Oh, what did I do? Copy. Paste. There we go. And so that's how I brought over those moon phase stickers. And what I like to do with my sticker book, or with my symbols tool over here, is have everything pre-sized exactly the way that I want it if I know what I'm going to use it for. So in this case, I just brought over the little moon stickers, sized them to fit in that circle, and then once you have them, I can get rid of this. I would have brought all those over, but I won't do all of them right now. So I bring them over, size them. While it's highlighted, tap on your symbols up here, and then you can just hit this plus sign down here, and it'll add it. And then once you add them all in here, you can drag and drop them onto each other and create a folder, and that's how I got all of these. So now at the start of each month, go in, grab all my stickers, and put them wherever they go for that month. All right, so that's how I set up that. And then what else did I set up? Oh, I also set up one. I have a generic journal section in here for just any kind of journaling I might want to do. And I also have a work section over here for any kind of projects or meetings that I go to. So I set up a sticker to input the date for me if I'm, if I come in and like my first tab, I'm going to a meeting. I set up here in my symbols. So I can go to a meeting, quickly jump in and put today's date and take my meeting notes. So if you want to do that, let's tick off of that. If you want to do that, so you'll go into your text tool. Probably don't want this crazy wingding looking font. pick a font, pick a color, pick a size. I have no idea what size that is. We'll just say, and then go in and do a /DT. And then you want to highlight it. Add it as a symbol. And then it will post the date in whatever font format that you picked there. Get that out of here. All right, so, I mean, those are kind of the generic ones that I like to set up. I set up other personal ones that I use for things. I have a games page that I use these little Mario coins for to track games that I've played. I have these doodle borders in here that I like to use when I'm journaling. I have some weather stickers. Yep, just various things. Like I said, it carries across all your notebooks, so you only have to set those up for one notebook. Let's see. What else do I have? Do I use? I use the fill tool for, you don't really have to pre-set up anything, but for my habit tracker, actually, let's just go ahead and set up the habit tracker while we were talking about the text tool. The habit tracker, I like to do that one on the page layout so I don't ever accidentally grab it and pick it up if I'm writing in here. And the way I like to label things is to use the table tool. It helps you keep your font lined up and spaced correctly. So let's see, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I rotate it. So it's going to be 6 rows. And I only need 1 column. Okay. And then you can just drag out your table. So this will just be habit. Take a look at it. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this weight down. Okay, so that fits nicely in the table. And then we can, let's make this smaller so it's not overlapping too much. Okay. So now if you tap on the next section here, it will keep everything consistent. Okay, so the trick is it's not actually really all together as one item. So anytime you work with it, you want to make sure that you highlight everything and keep it all together. Otherwise, you'll start dragging things away, and it'll get really confusing. So make sure you highlight everything anytime that you need to, rearrange it or work with it. So as I mentioned earlier, and it's been so long since I've turned off some of these. Oh, it's in here. The scale line thickness option right here. You'll want to have that turned on. And then this is usually one of the few times that I turn on selection guidelines because I rarely use that. Sorry if I went through that too quickly. From your selection tool in the right-hand corner here for settings, selection guidelines on, and scale line thickness on. And then you'll want to highlight everything and you'll drag it up here. And I already know obviously it's going to be way too big, so let's shrink it down a little bit. And then you can rotate this very easily with the guideline selection on. And then you may not necessarily want it to line up with what you have there, but just whatever, lost my selection there, whatever, makes it line up the best with what you have. And then once I have it where I like it, then you can go back into your table tool, select your table, and then I would turn off my border. that my border? Is that what I'm doing? Pen thickness. Pen thickness. Okay. And then there you go, all lined up. So that's how I like to do my sideways labels. What else do I have over here on my list? Oh yeah, so after I do my habit tracker, I use the fill tool and go down here and tap on this red colored square for your colors. Up here at the top for your little color picker. I already had it selected, but I always go into my layouts and sort of pick an accent color. And then you can just zoom in and use the fill tool to do your habits. Nice and easy. Although I'm still on my page layout, which I wouldn't normally be. I would change back to the writing before doing that. So there you go. So if you ever do, let's unlock the page layout. So if you ever do anything on the wrong layer, make sure both layers are unlocked. Tap on the layer you want it to be on. So I accidentally put it on the page layout, so I make sure page layout is unlocked. I want to move it to the writing layer, so I make sure writing is unlocked, and I make sure writing is my current one. And then you can select this colored square here, can tap on your selection tool again, and go down and find move to current layer. So you could highlight all of those, tap on that, go back down to move to current layer, and then it'll get moved to where you needed it to be. And then you can go back and lock page layout, and if you ever need to double check, just turn the visibility on and off just to verify it's on the layer that you want. And I also have the fill tool for my mood tracker as well. The fill tool and the color picker and ZoomNotes work great for this kind of mood tracker because I can just put all the different colors that I want to at the bottom for anything I can think of, and then, you know, I don't have to worry about making any kind of color palette. I can always just come down here and grab it to fill it in for that day. There we go. So it makes it, oh yeah, still in the red. Okay. On my fill tool, in my color picker, pick a color, fill it in. So yeah, ZoomNotes makes it super easy to fill out some of these layouts. And let's see, color tool, filler. Let's see. Okay, so after that, I just started making some different layouts in my planner, and there's a couple different ways that I like to go about doing that. Most of those would be in my list section, probably. So one of the good things about making your own planner, let's go into this first one here, is I have everything I need in Procreate for the exact size of my pages and all that. So it was super easy to get a page template. So you can see here I have my page template here that I can bring in, and the rings are on the above layer. So I can fill in my template, put the rings back on, and then I bring the page over like I did here for my games. Go in to this one that I made and do a copy canvas. Put that on my page layout. So it's already designed to match. Now I still have my selection guidelines on, which I never use. Okay, and then I would just line it up in each corner and size it and get it on there, which I won't spend forever doing. But so it's really easy to bring over, you know, layouts that you do in Procreate. Then what I like to do, because I'm striving really hard to make sure I keep my planner size manageable, because I want to be able to get through the whole entire year without feeling like it's getting out of control. So after I bring over these images from Procreate, I would select them, tap on my selection tool over here, scroll down to the image options, and then tap the one here that says reduce image resolution. Reduce image resolution. Oh, actually it didn't. That's interesting. When I brought it into my other planner, it's reduced it. But normally when you go in here, normally when you go in there, it'll say that it found X number of images on your page to reduce. And I have noticed a huge difference. I only have, 5 or 6 big layouts in my planner currently, and I went through and did that on all my pages, and it reduced it by like 25 megs. So it can really add up over time. Another option after that is you can also go in here. If you don't want to keep things unlocked on layers like this page layout, you can go in here and with your picture, selected, you can do this create background image. And then once you do that, this is actually no longer a selectable option anymore. I know I've seen the developer recommend doing that for size. I can't say I've ever actually looked. Yeah, so if you ever get a chance, look at your size and see if that makes a difference. I've definitely noticed that the reduce image resolution, and it doesn't change the way my page looks. Like after I do it, it doesn't like make the picture look grainy or anything. You can't tell. I notice a huge difference in size when I do that, but I can't actually say I've ever looked at the size before doing this to see if it makes a difference. But sometimes I do. If it's a big thing like this that I'm never going to touch again, you can flatten it and then it won't be selectable anymore. You can always come back in here and say clear page background, and it'll take it back off if you don't want it there anymore. Another way that I like to do my layouts, I like to hand draw them right in ZoomNotes, kind of like you would a bullet journal. The auto straight line features in ZoomNotes make it really easy to do that. A lot of times when I do those, I will maybe decorate the page a little bit with like a washi tape or something that I make in Procreate, which I have around here somewhere, I think. Well, let's just see. I can just play with this one. If you have Procreate and you've never played around with that, it's pretty fun and it's pretty easy. You can go into Procreate. I usually do them in black. Let's see what my pen looks like. That's really thick. That's really thin. Let's get an option that you like there. Okay. You can take and draw across here and then let it auto straighten. Did I not add a layer? No, I did not. Okay, I thought I added one. Add. Okay, now I'm working on another layer. Let's go back. And okay, moving that to its own layer so I don't mess with my template. Okay, so a lot of times I like to draw one line, duplicate it, then you can just drag it up, however thick you would want your washi tape, and then I would just draw kind of the ends and let it, if you just tap and hold, it'll auto straighten. That looks kind of bad. That's okay. Yeah, so you can just draw like the end of a piece of tape, like you tore it off of something. It looks so funky. Oh, God, it's driving me crazy. Okay, but I'm just going to ignore it. Okay, so let's see. Let's combine these. So I have one piece of tape here. Then I'm going to duplicate it again. So on this first one here, can reference. There we go. Okay, so the one I have here selected, you'll want to make sure you pick reference and then drag and drop that color down there. On the bottom one, get rid of reference here, make the bottom one reference, and then I would drag the black color down here. And then with the black layer selected, click on that little little wandy looking thing. Go into the Gaussian blur, and I kind of just move it out a little bit. And then, actually that's really far. Select it, you can kind of move it a little bit. And then probably go back into my layer here. There we go. And turn this down so it's not quite so dark. So, you can give it kind of a little shadow effect. And then up here on the purple one, turn off reference. Up here on the purple one, I have something. Maybe some little dots. Okay, so I have this little dot brush. So here in the purple one, you can do a another select. Tap on your brush. I did not change colors. And then you can draw a pattern. There we go. Nope, this one's overlapping itself. So you just want to make sure you go across once, I guess. And actually what I should have done is made 3 layers, because you can see it put the green dots on my outline. So you would want to have, just back up a whole bunch. Let me just basically start over. There we go. Okay, so you want to have 3 layers with this one on top. Make the bottom one the reference. Drag out the black. Blur it a little bit. Turn down the opacity. And just kind of bring it down. Okay, so now you have your top layer still, and you can go to your middle layer and hit select, tap on your paintbrush, and draw your pattern. Oop, I left it on black. There we go. So quick and dirty on how I make my washi tape. So a lot of times I like to use that on the ones that I hand draw, just to kind of give it some decoration a little bit. I also like to use the Vectornator app to make my titles. So let's see, we can. So normally what I would do at this point is I would leave these, if I had drawn a piece of washi tape that didn't look like total crap, I would leave it separated like this, and then you can turn off this middle layer here and just keep adding other layers, adding other patterns, adding other colors. This one does not look good, so I'm just gonna go ahead and combine these for now. And then you can go over here to your canvas, and this one I just need the one. So you would hit copy instead of copy canvas, because I just need the one layer. And then you can bring it in to ZoomNotes, tap and hold with your finger, hit crop. And then you got a little piece of washi tape. That's a really skinny piece of washi tape. But anyway, so that's how I like to decorate the borders of my page. And then since ZoomNotes works similar to Procreate in that it does the auto straight lines if you pause, I kind of do the same concept here, like you would in a bullet journal with a ruler and drawing out stuff. So I would do something like that. Go over to my Vectornator app. You can see I've got a whole lot of ones that I've been playing around with over here. This is the one I was working on recently that has the colors that I've got in my planner in there. So you've got all these different, fill options, different fonts you can pick. You can give it, the little shadowy effects. So I like to make some colorful borders over here, or headings, colorful headings over here. Come back over here and paste them in here. And then you can go into your pen tool. and whatever kind of like headings I have, and then I like to go through, and that's really skinny. I would count out some kind of a bullet journal type layout, and then you can draw and hold. And where am I going here? And then afterwards, you can always go back and clean up edges if you need to. You can move your little text around and line them up, things like that. So I end up with, let's see. I use that. My goals, so here's my blank goals that I was using. Here's my little arrow washi tape and some boxes I drew out. So I like to do a lot of the really simplistic, bullet journal style with some extra color. I think those are pretty fun. Let's see. What else do I have on my list over here? Oh, and so then I go back and label my pages over here. So like my goals, I already have some labels that I brought in from Keynote. So if you have anything in your planner that you're ever trying to mimic, ZoomNotes makes that pretty easy as well. If you know the font. If you don't know the font, then obviously that's going to be a little trickier. But since I made this one, I know what font I used. Go in here and you can type out your oh, that was right the first time. What am I doing? Actually, it works better if you use a letter. That's already in there. There we go. So let's take this over here. And again, if you have the scale line thickness on, you can use that to get the size right. This page always loads really slow for me, I think because I have this really big graphic over here on the side. This page is really slow. Okay, so go back in here, tap and hold, select all, tap on the color picker, and go over here and pick the exact color that was used. And there you go. Now you have a perfectly sized and matching tab. So that's how I do my tabs to match. This video is getting really long, guys. What else do I have over here? Let's see. I mean, that's most of my setup. Oh, the other one that I did was I have a movie tracker that's pretty fun. And for that one, I use the alignment tools in ZoomNotes, which makes it super easy if you want stuff to be really straight. So let's see. Let's go over here to my movie tracker. Oh, already unlocked. Okay, let me grab one of these. Okay, so I found these little movie posters on the internet, and I'll show you how I do the alignment. Okay, so let's get those four. And also you can tap in that center box there and copy and paste that way as well. Okay, so this is how many of these I had. So my trick here is the first one on the page, get it exactly where you want it, to the top and to the left. And then make sure all the ones underneath it are to the right. And then make sure the bottom one is also to the right, but also as far down as you want it. So it should be like that. Top one is where you want it. All the ones below it are to the right. Bottom one is as far down as you want it. And then I highlight these 4. Tap on my selection tool. Scroll down to the very bottom. Make sure you turn on space evenly. And then hit align to the left. And then they will all be lined up perfect. And then you do the same thing at the top. Make sure they're all below it. And make sure your last one is below it and as far to the right as you want it. And then you will highlight the top 4. Scroll down to the bottom. Make sure space evenly is on and align top. So now you have a good frame of reference here. So the last one you need is the one on the bottom right. So I take the one on the bottom right and I make sure it's to the right of the one on the top and to the top of the one on the bottom. And then I kind of draw this funky line where I go to the one on the very top and then I go down here and I grab the one on the very bottom. And I take off the space evenly and I just align them to the right. And then I do the same thing at the bottom. I grab these 2 on the corner and I go down. Again, space evenly is off and you align bottom. So now your 4 corners are all good. And then you can just repeat that process. You just grab these 4 on the bottom, turn on space evenly, align to the bottom. And, you know, as long as the ones in the middle are higher, you can just do that over and over again. Oh no, sorry, I didn't do the side. So the ones on the side, in this case, they're off to the right. So you can just grab these 4 and align to the left. And then grab these 4, align to the bottom, grab these 4, align to the bottom. So that's how I get my layout straight. That also works really great if you're numbering, you know, a blank calendar and you have a bunch of number dots or something. Once you get your 4 corners lined up, it's super easy. Get your 4 corners where you need them, and then go across and get all the ones down your calendar, and it makes it super easy to line everything up. Okay, so I think that covers most of my list, and this video is getting way too long. So sorry for rambling and screwing up a whole bunch, but there's a bunch of the tools that I use in ZoomNotes to get started. Maybe I can think of some other plan with me I can do for something that I'm actually legitimately setting up in my real planner instead of retroactively going back and trying to recreate what I did. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Thank you.